Nikki, with another Scripture Speaks video. And again, this Saturday we have a special video because we have a special guest. We have April Fox again. And we're kind of going to hit on something that I feel like we have a big problem with. Let me see. I think I got an echo. Let me see. I'm not gonna be able to. Oh shoot! Got that echo in my mic. Let me see. I muted my mic now. Can't even hear me. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. Trying to get this issue. Okay, you can still hear me.
Hmm.
Okay. So, guys, today we're gonna talk about a topic that me myself I think is a very important issue in today's society where women are concerned, especially black women. We hear a lot of things like if we be quiet, if we do what is told to us to do, if we just act right and cooperate. I hear a lot of things that I feel like need to be hit on because, and I know everybody doesn't like to hear the truth, and a lot of people may think, you sound crazy when you saying do it God's way, but I feel like it's up to us to just tell the truth. What you do with it is up to you, and you will not have any excuses. That's what the Word of God says. So, with April being a PK, I know a lot of people. You see a lot of PKs, April, that they get kind of wild when they're able to get out of the house and get
Hmm.
away from mom and dad. Now, the first thing I think we kind of hit on it last time, but you saw mom and dad, but what made you go out into the world and see the things that you saw, and you still were like, I know this is not right.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot that needs to be said about having that firm foundation. I mean, even the scriptures say that, you know, if you are building it on sand, it could wash away, but you have
Right.
to have that firm foundation. And that's a personal relationship with God. Like,
Mm,
my parents could do everything. They could try to tell me everything. They can try to, like, support me and all these things, but at the end of the day, it came down to what do I believe? What do Yeah, they helped me. They, of course, they helped me, and they provided like the example for me.
right.
Um but I had a relationship with God where, even with the temptations, once I got on my own, or young, being young. So when I say on my own, I mean I was in college, um but that was when I felt the most pressure. Like you said,
Right.
I was preacher's kid, finally be out and get to experience things, and I would say that I did
Yeah.
within reason, but I still I would always be known as that, like, maybe not goody. Like, I don't
Mm,
think that my friends felt like I was trying to be like a goody two shoes, but they knew I was at church on Sundays and Wednesdays,
mm,
that there were certain things I wasn't going to do or say. Um, and that was a personal decision,
Right.
because even though I wanted to make my parents proud, I wanted God to look at me and say, you know, she is she's good. She's a good one. Because I care about what God thinks of me, um and I definitely wasn't perfect then, not perfect now. So it's every day, it's a continual thing, and I have to, do whatever I need to do, ask for forgiveness, or try to, get back on track, or whatever those things may be. Um so I would say ultimately that personal relationship, that desire to build a firm foundation on what God has told us to do, and that stuck with me from that time till now.
Now, you said something really, really interesting. You said, even though I wanted to make my parents proud,
Mm-hmm.
I was more concerned about God being proud of me.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get to, was that at a younger age or at an older age when you made that decision to say, look, I want God to be proud of me, not just my parents,
Um, there was probably a little bit of it at the younger age, but I think when I was younger, it was more about
mom
making
and
my
dad?
parents. Yeah, I don't want to disappoint them, and I want them to be proud and this. But yeah, as I got older, more mature, I started to realize that um they can only do so much. Like, I guess I start thinking about what's going to happen in the afterlife, and like that they can't do anything at that point.
Right.
Like, it's up to you. Like, your journey is important, and God is the most important. So, um, yeah, that definitely came along. Like, I was starting to think about it more in my early 20s, and then, of course, now it's like I definitely
No
understand.
brainer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that completely.
Yeah.
That I'm independent, and
Hmm.
that's the way it's supposed to be as an adult. Like, I, or at least, that's the way uh I think God would want that to be for us, is that we get to the point of um thinking about our soul salvation on
Right.
our own, and it's not dependent on any other
Right.
person. Like, you got to get it together for yourself.
That's
And of
right.
course it's important to have those other support structures and figures in your life, and so not taking anything away from that, but at the end of the day,
It's about
when
him,
you
God.
looking at the that book, it's gonna be it's not gonna be about, well, what mom and dad think about me, or what how they can vouch for me. They can't. Not then.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's too late.
Now, looking at, you said the book, looking at the book,
Hmm.
I hear a lot of the Bible and the transliterations of the Bible, and how that has kind of influenced people to think that they need to question God on a level of, I could go figure out my own soul salvation,
Hmm.
because they see scripture say, work out your own soul salvation with fear and trembling, but they don't understand that scripture in the context. But you said looking at the book. I hear a lot of younger people too, as they grow up, they feel like their parents lied to them for so
Hmm.
long. Like, mom and dad lied to me. When I got older and I started to do some research on my own, I felt like they lied to me, even not just mom and dad, but the church
Hmm.
lied to me.
Yeah.
How did you stay grounded? Like you said, when you got older and you figured out you were independent and
Hmm.
your soul salvation was dependent upon how you were going to make your choices and decisions. How did you stay strong in knowing that, look, I've read the book, like, and I understand it? Because I know you probably heard that, about the transliterations and the changing and this, that, and the other. But what kept you going in the direction that you're in now?
Well, something that comes to mind is my dad would preach about how the that God is not trying to trick you with
Mm.
what's in the Bible, what's in the Word.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be simple. It's supposed to be something that, yes, you need to grow with it, and you don't stay in the same place, but it's simple. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not supposed to be difficult like that, and he's not
Right.
trying to play, I got you with the
Mm.
scriptures, especially in areas where it may seem contradictory in the word. So that's where, and I think it's healthy to question. I think it is healthy to question, within reason, but um, but I would say that is what sticks out to me. That, you know it is not a what you say, rocket scientist type
Right.
level thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that everybody should be able to grasp, and
Right.
then, as it says, how you go from milk to meat, like
That's right.
you grow, and you can start to take on a little bit more. Um, that's how it should be anyway. I don't know, everybody's path is different, but
Right.
I would think that is true. That God wants everybody to have the opportunity to hear and understand. And if it's that difficult, and if it's that, you got to have some degree to be able to discern. No, no.
Right. Right.
Because even young kids start to get it. And that's when you see that they start to be like, I think that this is what I want to do. Like, I want to be a Christian. Because they can understand it.
They can. Yeah.
Mm.
I believe that too. Now, in the other thing you said that I thought was interesting is friends, because I have people. I'm not gonna say friends. I'm gonna say people that I dealt with in the past, and we were, I would say, associates or trying to become friends. And when we hung out, like going out to eat or on a certain level, I always felt like people didn't respect, you know, my stance. They always felt what you would say, oh, she's trying to be a goody two shoes. They
Mm.
never said it,
Right.
but you could tell when, like, if I say I'm not doing that, it was,
Okay.
they never took that as okay. I just respect that she doesn't move like that. It was always like she's trying to. It's almost like they felt like you were judging them.
Oh.
So when you were dealing with your friends, how did you go about picking people that you knew, that you dealt with, that you could actually call your friend?
Mm. Yes. Okay. So, I mean, I did definitely have, like, my church group of friends, which, you would think that would be
Yeah, easy.
the group and be easier. Sometimes it was not. Like, you'd be
Right,
surprised, and
right.
then you hear about things that happen, and so I would say that, in general, I would look for those friends that, you know we have a good time, and it's not a sinful thing. Like, we're just good friends. We can go out to eat. They do understand my stance, so they may do a lot of cursing, or
Mm-hmm.
doing, whatever, but they that I can feel comfortable enough to be myself.
Right,
That's important. Like, I felt comfortable to be myself around those who were not who were like my friends from high school or college.
mm-hmm.
Um, they knew, and I didn't have to feel like I gotta try to be more like you. I'm hoping that I'm an influence,
Mm.
but I didn't have to change. And same with the church group. Like, even if
Right,
they weren't quite like what you call a straight and narrow, that
right.
I could feel be the same with them. Like, I could
Yeah.
be myself, and they know. where I stand, and then everybody knew I was a preacher's kid. I was no
Yeah.
like
No shock.
everybody knew that. So, there is a little bit of pressure. A little bit of pressure came from that,
Oh,
but yeah, for the most part, it was um fine. It was like I had friends I could trust.
yeah.
Um, and I did try to have like a circle of friends that, I really could be that spiritual group that we pray together when
Hmm.
something's going on, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you said pressure. What
Uh-huh.
type of pressure did you feel being a preacher's kid? Like, what kind of pressure is on you? Like when you are the child of a preacher, what's the pressure?
Um, I think the most pressure is just like expectations from others. So it's a little bit more difficult when you're a teenager or a young adult because, um, you know, others are, when I say others, like whether it's the older people or the leaders in the church or this and that, so they're
Mhm.
expecting you to be a certain way.
Right.
And so messing up is just kind of like a bigger deal. It feels like it's a bigger deal when you are a preacher's kid. So um, I didn't feel it as much because again I have to mention that when I was younger, teen, uh, even into my young adult years, I was dealing with being self esteem issues and depression type issues and all
Mhm.
that. And so I was a little bit quieter, shy. So I didn't get into much. Like so I that's my story. I'm sure other preachers' kids can say um what level of expectation, like what that did to them. But
Yeah.
for me, I just sometimes felt it because there is a level of like people looking at you, especially because your father or your parents are leaders.
Yeah. Now, the depression thing, we didn't get too deep into that last time, but how did you know that you were depressed, and what brought it on to the point
Right.
where you knew that you were depressed? How did you know?
Yeah. I didn't really I didn't realize I was depressed until I was in my 30s, probably.
Oh
I
wow.
didn't realize that's what it was.
Okay.
I just thought I was sad all the
Yeah.
time, or like I didn't know that it was depression
Right.
until I started to learn about it, and I spent some time in my 30s like tackling a lot of those things that kind of set me back or kept me down. So yeah, so in that period of time, I just thought I just really had um like I couldn't understand why I just could never feel
Joy.
happy or joyful or these things. And it wasn't all the time. Like I
Right.
just couldn't. It was maybe situational, like it
Yeah.
depending on what situation I was in at the time in my life. But yes, when I got to my 30s, and I just was like something
Something ain't
isn't
right.
right, and a preacher, um, he's a young adult minister. He just pointed it out, like he was direct, and he was like, "You have got to get all this like." Get into the driver's seat. I think I
Mm.
mentioned that last time.
Yeah,
Like, you
you
gotta
did.
get in the driver's seat and stop being, um, passive. And he was like, what was the phrase he said? Uh, assertive people are happier people. That's what he told me. He said, assertive people are happier people. He made me repeat it, and he just came right out and he was like, you've got to deal with these demons of low self-esteem and
Mm.
all this and that and depression, and like nobody talked to me like that, like nobody.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I never looked at it like that. I just kind of was going through life like not realizing
Mm-hmm.
what was happening to me. And
Right.
so I said, well, that's 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 done. Like I'm um I would tell anybody if your path is you need therapy or you need medication to help you do whatever. For me, I was I didn't have to do those things, but I kind of
Right.
had those type of people in my life that were therapy therapists and all that kind of thing.
Right.
But I would say I just was like, okay, we're going to work through this. And I often said depression will be something that I will probably deal with for the rest of my life.
Mm.
Like having to work through it.
Mm.
I'm so much better about when I can feel myself kind of getting on the edge. You know what do people say that was the thing that pushed me over the edge. Like I'm getting much better about identifying um
Mm.
um the ways to help me, whether it's scriptures or prayers or meditation, um or just redirecting my thoughts. Like I
Yeah.
can go from uh just being down about what's not right in my
Right.
life
Right.
to thinking, okay, identify ways like I did this I think last week. I said, when name all the times when God hasn't come through for you. Just
Mm.
if you're feeling
That's
all
good.
this about because right now I'm looking for another job because
Right.
my contract ended, so I'm trying to find another job. I was like, name all the times when he hasn't helped you,
Come through. Yeah. Yeah.
and so that's just one of the ways. And so I feel like I've gotten off on a tangent, but
Oh
basically,
no, no. That this is help. I believe this is helping people. That's another reason why I wanted you back on. Definitely because
excuse me for sniffing. Sorry
uh,
about that.
because that right there is something I think people don't know how to. They don't understand that because we are on this journey of a Christian walk, they think we should have no problems. They
Right,
think it should be all comfort.
right,
God is the God of all comfort, but your life is not going to
right,
always be comfortable for you.
right. And
And I
there,
think this is important.
yeah,
This
and
is an important conversation.
the devil looks for different ways to attack.
He
So
does.
for me, what I would tell people, I'm like, he doesn't have to attack me with being out late
Right.
and partying and being
Hmm.
in situations where I could get myself hurt or arrested or
Hmm.
that's not me. But
Right.
he can put thoughts of doubt into my mind or try to attack me with my thought pattern. Um, wondering if God cares. Like, no. So there are times when I just will be like, get away from
Away
me.
from me.
Yeah, like literally, I will say it out loud when
Yeah,
it gets to be that point where I'm
that's
just
right.
like, oh, the noise is just
Choice.
too much and I
Hmm.
need to focus. And
Right.
so I think that's where, going back to where I was talking about the foundation, that's why it's so important to build that foundation
Again.
on the word of God.
Hmm.
And you can one of the things I do is a gratitude journal. So when there's
Yeah,
times when I'm like wondering about God, or I can look in my gratitude journal and say, oh man, he has done
that's right.
all these things. And but it's still a constant thing. Like you're not gonna have it figured out.
Right.
You just not in this life. You just every day until the day you die, you're gonna have to work on something. You get better in certain
Yeah.
areas. So like now I'm in my mid 40s. I'm doing a lot better.
Right.
My mental health and my
Hmm.
um just the way that I handle situations and those, it takes time and effort and um and knowing that uh even if you get off track, that if you ask, I just believe that God will direct you, especially if you genuinely care. Like
That's
if
right.
you're just out here, you're like, Lord, please help. I just sometimes what makes it difficult is when it's a wait. Like when he
Yeah.
doesn't come right then.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, but you gotta wait. Or
Right.
not right now. Or and so that's when it starts to get a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. Cause I deal with that same thing. Like I'm like you. I'm not the person that's always wanted to do like little wild crazy stuff. But he messes with me in the areas like you said with my thought process. Like
Yeah.
what like you said, waiting, anxiety, like I
Yes.
don't want to wait. I want everything to happen right now.
Hmm.
And you have to I almost now at my age, I'm like, I'm not gonna be out in the public and try to put on. I'm gonna be where I'm at for real. I'm gonna always be in the moment. And I'm learning to say, you know what? Even when I'm not feeling like everything is okay, I am going to move as if I know it's going to be okay. And
Hmm.
that's the difference.
Well,
Like,
you speaking to me. Like,
yeah, cause
yes, I mean,
that's what I do now. Like
yeah.
I know I want it to happen. I know I want everything to go well. And then I start to say, I have to go out here and I have to smile. And then people are looking like, oh, she got it all together. I'm like,
Right.
man, if you only
Right.
knew.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you only
Trust.
knew, like when I'm by myself and
Ooh,
it's quiet and
yes.
the noise is turned
Yeah.
off, it's like
I mean,
all kinds of
sometimes
thoughts. And it's like, wait a minute now. Like,
that's why
why are you
sometimes why
thinking
I
like
can't
that?
sleep. Yeah, sometimes I
Right.
can't sleep because I can't stop thinking. I was like, you
Exactly.
know,
Like,
like, but God doesn't have to sleep, so you can give it to God. Like I'm speaking to
exactly.
myself. I'm speaking to myself. Like I can
Yeah.
give it to God because He
Hmm.
can handle it, and then I can go to sleep.
That's it. And turn it's like turning it off. And I think another thing that I've learned, and I say it all the time on my channel, this walk is not some magical thing, like mystical type stuff where you can
Yeah.
sprinkle some fairy dust and everything will, go the way you want it to go.
Right.
Like people want a feeling. Like when you talk about peace, it's like it's not a feeling. It's just you have to know that he is the Prince of Peace and
Right.
know, okay, with him being the Prince of Peace, that means I can have peace. But there are gonna be times I'm gonna be like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
like this is not this is not what I'm expecting. And I have those moments where now I'm just like honest, like God, look, you let all this go on with me, like, and I feel like I'm doing my best, and people
Yeah.
don't care about you. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point. That's how I talk to him now. Like, look, I'm
Oh,
not
yes.
understanding you right
Yeah.
now
There, I
because
tell you.
people, I see people do way worse than me, and you always got to take me down this road of like, what if, why,
Okay.
what's going on?
You sound just I mean, you sound just like me. Like that was me the other week. I'm like, I'm out here trying to do it.
Mhm.
Why I got to but then I have to think,
Snap out of it.
yeah, I have to be like that you don't know why. Like and you
Right.
may never know why. But
Exactly.
that's not our goal. That's not our charge. We are charged with trusting him
That's it.
always.
That's it.
So you never know because there are people that are always worse off
Then you.
and would
Mm,
want to have what you have, and
mm,
even when you feel like you might be at the in there
at
with
the
the
worst.
worst, there are still others who are
Right.
dealing with things, especially when I look at those who are struggling with illnesses. Like you don't
Yeah.
know why. We don't know why
Exactly.
that they could be one of the nicest people in the world and have to deal with something that's
Yes.
tragic.
Yeah.
So we just won't know why.
Exactly.
That's what people may not want to be Christians or may not want to understand God or love God because of this, because things like
Right.
this happen to good people. That's not something that, we just not gonna understand. We
Never.
just not gonna understand.
Never.
But what we are asked to do is to trust, and um that this is not it. Like
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
go through things, and we
Yeah.
have songs that's, we have songs about trials and tribulations, and
Yes.
that there's no more tears, and there's no more illness, and
Hmm.
so we long for that,
Right.
'cause it gets hard
Right.
down here.
It does. It does. Most definitely.
So,
And you hear the scriptures, you hear the preacher preach every week. And I have a phrase where I just say, don't try God, trust him. Because you hear the
mhm,
preacher preach every week, and you try to go home and try what they tell you. And it's like, when that doesn't work, it's not working because you're not, like you spoke of, that foundation. You're not having that foundation of the relationship, because you can try. The preacher can say, pray, and you say, I prayed,
mm,
but are you trusting, or you just trying it? Because I was thinking the other day, like, Nikki, you praying, but then you turn around and you're thinking about it again, or you're thinking about what you have to do to
mhm,
fix it. So it's like your prayers are in vain. It's not that he's not listening.
mhm,
It's you think you still got control. So why are you praying? If
mm.
you think you can handle it, then handle it.
Okay.
Don't go to him. If you're gonna go to him, then trust him.
Yeah.
Because I always say, when you try it and it doesn't work, it's going to frustrate you.
Yeah.
It's no way around it, because you're
Yeah.
trying something. It's like everybody has a remedy for something, and when you try it, it's not universal. So if it's not universal, it makes you mad. You think it's God's fault, but it's really like, no, this is not the universal thing that God's telling you to do that will work. You're trying your way. You're trying your way. Like the preacher say, do this, you do it. You're like, oh, the preacher say put $20 up, and make sure, or go over your 10%. And then you go over your 10% every week, and then you look at your bank account, and
Mhm.
it's negative. It's
Yeah.
in the negative, and
Yeah.
you're mad. You're like, I did over 10% every week, and my account is in the negative. Did you do it because you trusted, or you did it because your preacher said try to go over your 10%? And
Mhm.
I think that's what hurts us a lot. Like, we try, we don't trust it.
Yeah.
Now I want to get into something that is the biggest thing for me, and the reason why I wanted to do this, because we are both black single women living in a world where society tells you, at a certain age,
Mm.
you should be this. How is it that you don't have, if you don't have this by this time, something is wrong with you?
Mm.
So I'm right now, I'm not gonna give my perspective. I'm just gonna ask you, like, this biological clock that we quote unquote have,
Yeah.
and then you read the scriptures. And I said this to you before we came on. You read the scriptures how Sarah and Abraham had kids at an old age. Now we know at 90 and 80 now we're
Right.
not gonna be able to do that.
Right.
But we know God can do whatever he chooses to do with us. Now, do you believe in this biological clock? Does it is it something that you pay attention to, and do you feel like it's ticking for you?
Um, I mean, it is something I think about, and I think probably in my 20s and 30s, it was like more of a priority to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Now, I mean, yes, the the physical aspects of everything, that's a real thing. That's a very real thing. But that too is in God's hands, and
Mhm.
you hear stories of women who are who tried and eventually it happens for them at an older age. So I, I think it is very, very real. But it's not something uh that I like it used to be one of those things that I could never talk about without crying. It was one of those
Mm.
things that I just couldn't like, but now like I trust God with
Yeah.
everything, and like
Yeah.
I believe that if it's something that he wants for my life, then I'll have it. And then for me, I've always thought that I would adopt anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I wanted to have a partner before I
Yeah.
did.
Right.
So that's just the life that I prefer to have somebody who's with me on that.
Right.
Um, but I just I don't like to just spend time like
Dwelling
being
on.
worrying, concerned about all this. Like God knows,
Mhm.
and He
Yeah.
knows that
Yeah.
this is something um that I've desired for my life and thought that that was going to be my life. Like in my
Right.
like
Right.
early 20s, I was like, okay, marriage, children, that's it, and and then job.
Right. Right. Right.
but but that's
That's
not
not. That's
what
not his
happened for
plan for
me.
you.
And so one of the things that my dad would tell me, like when I would talk to him about how I was like, this was like in my 30s, I guess, that I was like, this is not what I thought my life would be like. And he said, well,
Hmm.
you have to adapt.
Right.
You have to
Right.
adapt.
Exactly.
And I was like, you know what? You're right. Because I don't like spending time and effort and about, man, I wish I see uh because one of the other things that I deal with in all of the other like issues is envy.
Mm.
Like that is something I've had to deal with for the longest, and social media doesn't help with that a lot.
Right.
Seeing what others have, seeing the life,
Mm.
like it used to be something I just would get so caught up in that, and then as I got older, I realized people are only posting the highlights. They not posting that they ain't got no
Real
money.
life.
Yeah,
Right.
they don't have no money. That their marriage is not
In
as
shambles.
great as you think it is. That
Yes.
that they are struggling behind the scenes.
Exactly. Yep.
Everybody got something going on.
Yep.
Like so, all that you think is great, sure. Some probably do have a wonderful experience, and that they're um then it may seem a little bit easier for them. But that's them. Like you
Right.
can't be worried about what they're doing. like
Right.
it doesn't matter what they're doing, great or not great. You got to focus on what's going on with you. And
That's it.
so, um, and so you have to take social media with that
Doing
with
salt.
that lens, with that thought of like, okay, you think everything's going good, and they out here uh, posting their cruise
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're all together, they all dressed up. Yeah, look, just be happy for them.
That's right.
Just be
That's right.
happy for them, and focus. I mean, like, because at the end of the day, like I'm thinking about Ecclesiastes more often. Like, what does it matter? Like, if I mean, what does it matter? All of this is meaningless.
Yep. Cause
There
I
are
was.
only some things that you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You're supposed to
That's it.
love God, trust
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
try to be an example. Like those are things that matter because you know when judgment comes, God don't care about all these other things. Like He just doesn't. We care. He
Right.
doesn't. And
Exactly.
so the spiritual like charge for me has been to recognize because that's another trick of Satan is to
So
like
is.
get in your mind and make you think, oh, I want what they have.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the ways that people have. You can look in the Bible and see all the times when when people want what somebody else
What's
has,
that?
They're coveting what somebody else has. That's ungodly.
It is.
God don't like that.
And I told my mom today when you mentioned spiritual, I told my mom today, I said the real issue with people is they don't recognize how important your spiritual growth is.
Mm,
Because if your spiritual man is dull, it really doesn't matter how much you accomplish. Because I was watching YouTube, because I watch YouTube to try to figure out how to make, my channel better. I
mm-hmm.
watch other people's channel to
Mm-hmm.
see what they do.
That's right.
And I was watching Shannon Sharp, and he said something that stood out to me. He was doing an interview, and he said, I provide for my family, but I worry about what they're gonna do with what I leave them when I die.
Mm,
But you're not gonna be able to even have anything to say about that.
right. Right.
So you that's the biggest thing. You said a lot, and it is so important that we understand that. Like for me with the biological clock thing, I learned a long time ago that I couldn't have kids.
Mm,
Now, my my father came into my life. He asked me, he said, "Does that bother you?" And at the time, I was teaching Sunday school, with working with these young ladies, and I was like, "No," because I feel like, because I was standing outside today at a little parade they had coming down, and I saw this little boy. He was just picking with his little sisters, and his
mm-mm.
mom was standing right there. And me and my mom be like, "Shut up, Nikki." So I said to the little boy, I said, "That's your little sister?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Why are you making her cry?" I said, "Would you, when you beat somebody up, if they made her cry?" And he tried to walk on his mom and said, "No, she talking to you. Look
Mm,
her in her eyes." And
mm,
she was like, "Cause she telling you the truth." I said, "So why you won't just give her back what she's asking you for? It's hers. Give it to her."
mm-hmm.
So he was like, he kept on playing with it. I said, and I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna grab you by your arms. I'm gonna let both of your sisters jump on you, just so
Mm,
you can see. And his mom didn't say anything. My mom like, "Girl, leave them kids alone." I said, "No." I said, because we can sit there and talk, negative about these kids,
mm,
but it takes a village. Because his mom didn't. Whoever she was, she could have been mama, grandma. She
right.
did not say, "Hey, why you saying
She
something to
know.
my
She
kid?"
know
She
too.
was like, "No, like she telling you the truth.
Yeah.
You messing with your sister like that." But I feel like that is something that I love kids, but I know that if, like you said, if it was meant for me to have kids, I believe God would have made a way.
Mm-hmm.
But if he didn't, I'm okay with that.
Right.
But to hear society scream that, you're supposed to be doing this by this, by this, by this.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And I think hearing that screaming, I read something yesterday where it was like, even in all the screaming, you have to make sure that you are able to hear God's voice.
Yeah.
When you're in that crowd of people saying, "Hey, you're supposed to be doing this by this age. You're supposed to be doing this by this age." But whose voice are you listening to in that crowd?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
can you hear, like you said, can you hear Ecclesiastics telling you this is all vanity?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear that versus them telling you where you're supposed to be in your own life?
Right. Yeah. I would think I think about these kind of things a lot, and um like what happened, like the pandemic happened right after I turned 40, and
Right,
so in 2020 I turned 40, and then the pandemic was like a few weeks after that. And
right,
so I think during that time, like something about turning 40 is just like it makes you start thinking about these things, because
right.
it's everybody's like, you're getting on up there, you're getting
Yeah.
older. It's like, oh my gosh. But
Right,
the
right,
pandemic kind of had me kind of reset. Like it was a
right,
period of time. Like I don't ever want to go through a pandemic again. Like Lord, please, I don't
right,
want to ever
right.
experience that again. But some of the good things that came out of it is that I had time to really think about what matters and what
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And um and that I was like, I don't want to spend my days longing
Right.
for whatever it is that I thought I was supposed to have. It's like, who knows what can happen? So I was like, I'm going to start leaning into the things that I really enjoy and take
Hmm.
advantage of being single.
That's it.
Like, I spent so much, I'd be like, oh, I hate it. I spent so much of my single life on this sad and wishing and wanting and like, no, there are things that I can do that
Hmm.
because I'm single.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm just like,
Exactly.
now is the time to take advantage of that.
Right.
And if God has something different for me in the future, great. But
That's it.
I can't I just like I said, like it feels so good to be able to talk about this and not be emotional. Man,
Right.
because I
Mhm.
couldn't. I mean, I tried
Exactly.
back in the day. Oh, I'd be welling up inside trying to talk about
Talk
how
about
this, but it was also tied to like everything was linked. It was
yeah.
tied to my self esteem. Like I
Hmm.
felt like I needed to have someone to validate me so
Yes.
that I could be like, see, I'm okay. Like I'm
Yeah.
good because I have somebody. I
Exactly.
thought that's like that was my mentality, and so once
Hmm.
I broke away from that, I was like, you know what? First of all, God loves me.
Right.
It doesn't matter if I have somebody or if I don't.
Mm.
Like, because when we go back to like the judgment and all, who it's not about who could vouch for you. Then
Exactly.
you want Christ to vouch
Exactly.
for you. So yeah. So I just would say, yeah, it takes a while, takes work to get to that point. If to anybody who's struggling as
Right.
a single person and you're trying to live right and um one of the things like when I knew we were going to be talking about this, there's uh I've never forgotten. I can't remember whether I was in my late teens or my early 20s. My dad said, ain't no man worth all that.
Mm.
So uh meaning you don't have to go crazy
Easy.
trying to like get somebody or getting so mad that you out here breaking windows and slashing
Right.
tires or that
Yes.
you lower your like what's the word I'm looking for, lower
Your standards
my
or
standards, yes.
expectations.
Lowering my standards. You don't lower your standards. You don't just so that you can have somebody, so you can say
Hmm.
you have somebody, like all of those things. Ain't nobody worth all that.
Now,
Just
the most interesting thing you said in that is you brought up little big man, as I call him. You brought up little big man, and he
yes,
said, "Ain't no man worth
worth
all of that."
all that. Yeah.
Now, the
I
thing,
can't remember when he said it. I know I was in my like 20s or late teens, early 20s, and I
now,
never forgot that. I don't know what we were talking about, but
and
yeah.
that's the thing. Like, if you think about it, to like what I started out with earlier, to see your father in action,
Hmm.
do you? Cause for me, I look at it like protection. Because if just imagine yourself in relationships, and no matter what, you may not think certain things, but I think you would have been comparing everybody
Mm,
to
there's no
Brother
doubt.
Fox
Oh yeah, for
with
sure.
two X's, as he would say.
Yeah, he would tell you. I think y'all probably heard it many times
Hmm.
that we said we want somebody like that.
Yeah,
So
back in the day, he would say that in his sermon. Like, I
yeah,
want my
it's
daughters to
still
have
there.
somebody like me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that has evolved over the years, but it's still the same. Like someone who you see them in uh different situations in life. So I've seen my dad be upset, be
Hmm.
sad, be all the things,
Right.
but I still see him being the example of what it is I would want is someone
Exactly.
who knows
Yeah.
how to handle it, who knows how
Right.
to be kind and generous. Um,
Hmm.
he treats my mom like
Like a
what he
queen.
yes, what
Hmm.
he would call fine china.
Man, you can't stop him from talking about his Leela. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so
He
to see
does.
that,
Yeah.
I
And
haven't.
it ain't no playing. He ain't performing.
And
Yeah.
so, um, it's one of those things where I just thought that was it. Like that
Yeah.
was the way that my life was gonna go. I see what
Right.
my parents went through because my parents met in college, and my
Hmm.
mom was 17, my dad was 23, I
Hmm.
think, and they got married like a year after maybe.
Right.
So I'm thinking like that's the life that you get married
Yeah.
young. You have, they did wait to have children because my dad was 30 when I
Right.
when I was born. So, um, but yeah, I thought that was it, but
Yeah.
that is not the case, and um, it is something that I think once I started to get better about not caring what other people think, um, that that helped a lot
Yeah.
because like people will say like when my sister got married, people were
Yeah.
just like, "You're not married
Next.
first because you're older
Right.
than her,"
Right.
and they would just pour things in my head and
Yeah.
tear
Mm.
me up. Like I just was like, why would you do that? Why would you say that to me?
Right.
But now I'm like, you can say that to me, and I'm like,
Look, I'm
okay,
happy for sis.
okay. Like if you got some
Yes,
connect
sis.
with
Yeah.
God, talk to God about that because
I
apparently
know that's right.
he knows, and so
Yes, I
let
definitely
me live. But yeah,
right.
again, like the pandemic came along, and I turned 40, and kind of like my mentality started to shift even
Yeah.
more at that point, and so getting to this point, you're seeing somebody who has grown a lot. Like yeah,
Yeah.
like
And that, and
it's
that's
not an
it,
easy thing.
and that's important because, and I think it was. Do you think it was more protection because people? Can you say you've ever ran across a guy that you talked to in any capacity that that met even came close to
Uh,
to dad? Like, do you think that was protection because it's difficult to meet somebody that
yeah,
will stand up to that?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Um, I'd say probably maybe a few who 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 I could even even think like that.
mm,
But again, since they weren't relationships or serious relationships or
right,
anything like that. Like I didn't have the opportunity to see in those different situations. Like
right,
that's something my mom says is very important. Like you have to see them in some of their worst moments,
mm-hmm,
and how they handle it or what happens when they get angry and
right,
like are they calling you out your name and that
mm,
kind of thing. Like you gotta get to that level, and so I really haven't had that experience. So that would be very important, like going forward, is to have those times and opportunities to like really not see the surface, because on
right,
the surface we're good,
mm,
most people you would say are good, but in order to see whether you're actually a match or compatible or or because there's just some things that you just feel like that's not gonna work for me,
right,
and I need to see it beforehand. I don't want to get down the road and I got, in a situation where I'm like, no, 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 no.
this is not
Um,
it.
yeah. So, and that comes with prayer too. Like
Yeah,
if you're in a relationship, speaking to people in relationships, and you're like you're wondering, ask God to put you in some situations that may be
yeah,
uncomfortable, but you need to see
yeah.
is this,
Hallelujah.
yeah, how is this person react, and and work through that.
Yeah, because another thing with the biological clock, I think people think that God deals with time the way that we deal with time.
No.
Now, when we talk about relationships and what we're looking for as women, like we talked about mom and dad last episode, like the if you saw him and her, he's small in stature, and he loves to talk like about him being small in stature.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see her and you'll see him, but you see the level of respect that she has.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you view what did she do to let you know that did she do anything that you could say that she had a voice in the house, but dad was still the leader?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
what did she do to let you know, yes, he hears me, he considers my feelings all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but he's still the leader? How did she show you what that looks like? Because a lot of people always women think that men make women think that they have to be quiet because mom is very has decorum and she's
Mm-hmm.
docile, but when it was time for her to speak, how did she go about
Right.
showing you young ladies, that look, I'm not overstepping dad,
Right.
dad is still the
Um,
leader?
that's a good question. I feel like some of it wasn't even visible to us.
Mm,
Like I feel like if there was some issues that she probably talked to him, alone and did
mm,
not show did not, those conversations we wouldn't have ever known about.
right,
Um they they made sure to show us that um women are strong and capable. Like I never felt less than
mm,
as of course I came up knowing about, you know, uh, that the wife is submissive to the husband,
right,
but they both let us know
right,
that 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 doesn't mean that your voice doesn't matter. That doesn't
right,
mean that um that you're less than. It just means that there's a hierarchy, and that ultimately, like, the husband submits to God. So
right,
everybody got to submit to God, but like
right,
husband ain't just out here making uh being ruler. And that's one
right.
thing. Like he never was in the house being like, I'm just like I am
Man,
the
I
man,
can,
and y'all gotta do what I say, and this and that. There was always like I don't know how to describe it. It's just like it was a spiritual undertone about everything, and that um like my dad would we knew he was the head of the house. My mom
right,
made sure that that was the case, but there was
right,
like a mutual thing going on. It's like um you could see the way my dad treated my mom and the way my mom treated my dad, and that there was just love there,
mm-hmm,
and not just like surface level. Like
right,
it's for real. And I think, again, like, I think there was probably some things that uh were just not we didn't know about. Like,
right,
with conversations, my mom would take it to him at another time,
right.
and so that to make sure that we didn't have to see
Experience,
that exchange. Like, it's just I just have to believe that that's probably the case, because I'm sure they've had some things they had to talk about, and
right.
that we just weren't privy to.
Proof to
But
that's
yeah, they it was a very balanced,
right.
showed us a very balanced relationship.
Yeah, because I think this is a good conversation, and I think it's important because, like I said, with all the things that we spoke about, and I think the last thing I really want to hit on for women, period, like, just let's talking about the church
Mm.
and us in the church and the voices again of what we're like, what are our roles. And like for me, I understand why the Bible says what it says. I've studied also the things that women talk about being in leadership, being in a pulpit. And I've studied where it's been said that that wasn't a permanent thing, it was just in that place. But I understand why it stands, because first of all, we're too emotional,
Mm.
and secondly, I think we go off on tangents when we're emotional, and
Mm.
I think it's important to make sure that we keep it about God. But again, in the church, as a woman, like, have you ever had a discussion with dad about our roles as women in the church?
Mm.
And what would he say to you?
Um, I don't think so. For me, I just didn't have the crazy like desire to
Yeah,
be doing all
yeah,
these things. So, I think one of the main things was back in the day there was an issue with like women wearing pants or something like that,
right, right,
and I just was like, this doesn't make sense to me. And
right.
my dad was just like, with especially with him being a leader, he was like, well, you have to go somewhere um where that is not an issue, because ultimately you need to respect the leadership. And
Mm,
then so you make your, at the time I was an adult, so it's like you have to make the decision for yourself, because
that's good.
if you don't agree or you don't feel like that's something that you are like it's just too much or whatever the case may be. It was just like he was like, don't don't make it an issue, like
Mm,
go ahead and go somewhere else. So
right.
I would think about that from time to time, and I would just be like, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do need to respect. I mean, things have changed. This was like back in the day, like this was
Yeah, yeah,
in the '90s. So,
right,
but I never forgot that, like the
right.
that you respect those who are in
Mm-hmm.
those leadership positions, and when it comes to be a point of contention, like you go ahead and do what you need to do. So I did eventually, I don't know how soon after that I did end up going somewhere else, um but I didn't forget what he said, and
Right.
I would apply that to any other conversation, because I don't think that, like, I didn't have an issue with the like a real issue. Like, I would go to God if I had issues like
Yeah.
with women's roles.
Right.
I really do like think that we're intelligent and we're powerful,
Yeah.
we're all the things.
Right.
So I did struggle sometimes with that concept, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I was like, based on the study and what we've been shown, like
Right.
this is what God has put in place. I
Mm-hmm.
know that is an issue, especially now. Like,
Right.
woo, it is just becoming
The
like
biggest thing.
yeah, it's like it's hard to understand, and there are some concepts that are hard to understand and that seem dated, and this is one of those things.
Yeah.
So because I didn't desire a role like that,
Right. Right.
it wasn't something that I really just talked or cared about, because it was like I don't care, y'all got it.
Well, I
So
always rolled with the leadership, but as I hear it now, as it plays out, for me, just doing this YouTube channel,
mhm.
I've come to understand I wouldn't want it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because like for me, trying to come up with topics,
Mm-hmm.
trying to come up with ideas to engage and keep people engaged with
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Cause I'm on this camera, just me, like
Mm-hmm.
making videos and trying to talk about things that people want to hear.
Yes.
So just imagine a pastor where it's mandated that he has something for you Wednesday and Sunday
Mm-hmm.
every week. And he has to keep people's attention when he's standing up there. And he's each week he's coming up with a different topic
Yeah.
that he's had to study throughout the week
Yeah.
and keep your attention and make sure that he's discipling the flock.
I,
I don't see why it's such a big thing for
yeah.
us
Yeah. I
to
think
do that, because
gender role.
when I'm doing this and I'm trying to get views, I'm looking at when I look at the views, I'm like, is this in vain? But it's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
like, what are you doing this for?
Yeah.
The people that are listening, people are, everybody might not click on it, stay on it, listen, like it, but the ones that do and do like it, that's enough. You're reaching one, maybe two, and
Yeah.
that's fine. So just imagine people coming into a building for you every week to hear something that you have to say,
Mm-hmm.
and you should be where people can say, "Ooh, he's really studying his word." He's and like I said, you're actually discipling the flock. I
Mm-hmm.
think I don't see why we want it so badly. Now, as a woman, what do you think? What do you think our roles is in the church? The
Mm-hmm.
church that Jesus built, because we see a lot of women in the Bible that we saw, like Mary was the first one to see him resurrected. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you think that means, as far as empowering us, but also still letting us know that that doesn't mean we have something, a one up on the men that lead in the church?
Right. Um. I mean, there's in my life what I've seen. Just like you have to be personal with it again. I think like this personal relationship with God is so important. Like so that you're knowledgeable, um, and can offer something in classes and be a teacher. Uh, like the service part is so important. It's the little things that sometimes don't get acknowledged or noticed that women just naturally as a like God has given us these qualities of being a nurturer and
Right,
a facilitator and like there's so many different roles that you can have, um leading a ministry. um I mean, I'm thinking of all these people in my mind who get the things done that are that help the church to move forward, and then of course the leadership, their wives, who are so crucial to being that support,
right.
and like it may be hard for those who don't understand or don't want to deal with the gender roles, but I do believe that there are the qualities. There are some good and some that are not so good, which is why God has put things in place. You know, we have examples of the Bible where the women were kind of gossipy and you
Mm,
know um and having to like check that. And so I think there are certain things about women that I mean, it's just true. It's just true.
yeah,
And but the best qualities about us are the nurturing and the um like taking care of things that need to get done that um are behind the scenes, and
right.
are so important, um and just finding those areas. Like I've been involved um creating like the images for our bulletin covers, and
Right.
um helping with different ministries. I'm in like ooh, one, two,
Yeah.
three, like a couple different ministries, and most recently I was on the committee to help with we're trying to get deacons and elders installed, like new deacons and elders. And so we there were a couple, it's pretty even male female that were able to reach out to the congregation, talk to them, find out who they were thinking might be good for the position, and working on that just behind the scenes,
Right.
kind of helping so that we could present that information to the elders. And when they first asked me about being up on the committee, I was kind of like, no, oh, coming up in a conservative,
Right.
coming up in conservative, there wouldn't be women doing any of that.
Doing it. Yeah.
But when they explained what we were doing, I was like,
Right.
okay, I see what we were,
Yeah.
just being the liaison between
Right.
the members and the elders, so that we could get some of the work done.
Right.
Um,
Without
and
putting all the burden on.
yeah, yeah, pulling it all together, and then the elders took it from there. But
Right.
but it's things like that. Like there are
Yeah.
so many ways. Like if you can't find a role or a way, like you just really want to be in the pulpit, I don't know. I don't understand. That's not my life, and I
Right.
don't desire.
Right.
So, because if you're just looking for a way that you can be helpful, then God will show that to you. If you ask for it,
Exactly.
God will show it to you. If
Yep.
if you're open. So,
Right. And the last thing I want to talk about with that is, you see, like in ministry, like it's a, cause my mama was saying it to me the other day, cause I went back to work. I was not working for like 6 months,
mm,
just getting this off the ground, like
right.
working solely on this. And now I'm working, and I still, like, when I get off, like I work 11 to 8, and I come home, I go to bed, and if I when I wake up, I'm setting up to do a video.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was like, uh, you got too much going on. I said, what you talking about? She
Yeah.
said, you trying to work, do
Mm-hmm.
a podcast, and da da da. How did um because we talked last time about, it was y'all were at church so much, your sister was like, we might well get a house back there.
Man, yes.
How did that? How did mom and dad balance that? And then when he started preaching like full time,
Mm-hmm.
how did she not get to a point where she was like, "Hey, it's taking too much of your time"? Like,
Hmm.
cause like I said, we know In order for dad to preach the way he preached, he has to be in that word.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did they balance making sure that when he
Man.
started doing it full time, it wasn't like, it was still a balance. It wasn't like, oh, it's just he's always doing this, no time for this,
Mm-hmm.
and
Man. You know, I would definitely have to ask them about some specifics, but I would say they were uh they were in prayer,
mm,
because like I think they had time, like it was gradual, so they had time to kind of think it through, and then my dad will say, all right, God kind of helped him make that decision, because it was like he felt like, yeah, I'm who you're looking for.
right,
You know, he was just kind of, I think, helping or filling in or doing
yeah,
something, and then kind of came to that conclusion. So I think my mom was just like, she was that support. She was
right,
that help. Like I think it was just the right mix of timing, and him being on the way to retirement from his full-time job, so
right,
transition into being like he was still preaching full time, but not having to go into another job throughout the week.
Right.
So I think that at the time of their life, they just really were able to make it work. And I am trying to think, like I was already out and working and living my adult life, um, so I wasn't around as much for maybe
Right.
all of those things, the moving parts. So I would say that I know just from living living the life in the Fox household that she was um supportive and was willing to assist, and he will say all the time she is a great preacher's wife. Like
Right.
you can see it. Like she steps in, she works hard. I mean, she works so hard, and does things that nobody even knows about, and
Right.
is not going to talk about it. And I would say that those are the main things that I think helped him to make the decision, because and it might have been that because Ashley and my sister and I were older, that
It worked
that
easy.
aspect wasn't even a part of it at that time, so that
Right.
might have made it easier.
Yeah. Cause I think you kept mentioning the one thing I think that people miss with women and men, and it's great that we had this conversation because we need more conversations like this because at the end of the day, the church is us, and it's I think and mostly with in life we have to learn how to balance things out,
Mhm.
like making sure that, like for me, I look at life now as more about preparation,
Yeah.
making sure that I'm preparing because I could see we could say we want a lot of things, and I think you and your sister had a great example. That's why I was asking that question right there because not just because women want to preach, but we seem to have forgotten that your identity is not wrapped up in titles, what you're doing, how many people see you. It's more about, like you said earlier, is God pleased with me?
Yeah.
Because people will change on you. Like, you know, one minute they'll be, I love you, April, I love you, and then the next minute you do one little thing, and like I said last time, somebody said, tell them no, and
Mm.
see if they'll still be, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Mm.
And I
Ooh.
think
Ooh.
that's the biggest thing with us. Like, I love you, but if you say something they don't like,
Yes.
people are totally different.
Yes.
And but God is not. So I'm glad that we have this conversation. This was a great conversation.
Mm.
We touched on a lot of things. Hopefully, this won't be the last time we will be able to do this.
Yeah.
We'll be able to keep on doing things like this to help us as not only as black women but women period,
Yeah.
because we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be super women and strong and always doing what has to be done,
Mm.
and we get mad about that,
Yeah.
like, and I think the next time if we do this, the Lord's will, we'll talk about that, what I would call superwoman syndrome.
Mm.
You don't always have to do what you have to do.
Man,
If you don't like something, you can be honest about you don't like it.
it'll change your life.
It
It'll
will if you
change your
don't
life.
like it. I mean,
Ooh.
why do I have to? If you don't like taking care of your children by yourself, just say it. Say that,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you say it, also be able to allow people to help you when they're trying to help you.
Mm.
It may not come from the father. It may come from other people.
Yeah.
But don't be that mom that you need help, but you mad at the dad, and then if somebody else tries to step in and say anything to the kids, you get mad at them.
Oof.
So we have to make sure that we're not trying to be super women
Yeah.
and having that syndrome of I got to do what I got to do. Uh, it doesn't matter who don't help me. I mean, it may not matter who helps you, but it matters that you need help
Yeah.
because we all need somebody. So this was a great conversation. I don't know when the next time I'll be able to visit over there at Chelsea, but I want you to tell mom and dad I said hey,
I will.
and we're gonna do this again because I don't know. Maybe in the long run, this could become something we could do on a regular basis. We can come up with something, but but right now, I just love the conversation that we're able to have to help young women with a lot of things
Yeah.
that they don't they don't know that God wants to help us with those things. So, guys, this is me and April signing
Thank you
off.
for having me.
Yes, thank you for being a participant and wanting to do it. So reprogram your thinking, guys. Let's get back to love. Let's recover the life that the devil tries to take from us each and every day. And most importantly, God may not be there when you want him. He'll definitely be there in the nick of time. So allow the scriptures to speak, and I hope that you listen. Don't just be a hearer of the word, be a doer. I love you guys. Peace, and I'm out.
Bye.
Good talking to you.
Yes.
All right.